Live?
Because we're live.
Okay. We got to find a different catchphrase. I got to find a different catchphrase to start this because I think we do that every week.
And welcome to the Tonight Show with Matt Gentry.
Wait, whoa. So, all right. Well, welcome once again, everyone, to an Athearn Train Tuesday. It is Tuesday, July 21st, 3:31 p.m. Central Daylight Savings Time. Excuse me. How's it going, Janik?
It's going. It's a balmy 78 and sunny, not a cloud in the sky out here.
So typical Southern California, it sounds like.
Yeah, exactly.
It has been in the mid to upper 80s, low 90s, and multiple thunderstorms rolling through the Midwest for about the last 5 to 10 days. And up here in central Illinois, the locals have not been happy with the humidity levels.
Well, you know what's bad if the locals are unhappy, so.
That's true, but where I grew up in southern Indiana, we were right on the Ohio River, so the humidity doesn't bother me at all.
Okay.
So, but again, I didn't grow up in Little Rock, Arkansas, or further south, so maybe I don't know what humidity is. I don't know. So anyway, so last week we had quite a bit of stuff to talk about, and this week maybe not so much. So maybe we'll get more Q&A time for everybody, and maybe we'll take a cue from a couple of our other model manufacturing friends and ask us some deep questions. Maybe not some just make this, make that. But we'll see how the Q&A section rolls on, and we'll go from there. So let's get started. I want to talk about something first. Well, let's get started a little bit before that even. P42 Via Rail update. We still haven't gotten an update from Via on a license, and Go Transit Bombardier cars, we still haven't gotten an update from them for a license. So still no update on those. As we've said in the past, we're very hopeful. Via is probably going to happen. It's just on Via's schedule now, unfortunately. The Go Transit one, we're not sure yet, but we're hopeful. Go Transit can be finicky at times. So we'll just have to see what happens and go from there.
Anyone at Via, give them a call or Go Transit.
Yeah, so if anybody knows anybody in these agencies, drop them a line and poke them with a stick and say, hey, we want some models. Please provide Athearn with a license so they can make the models. So anyway, back to where I originally started. We're going to talk about something that's not exactly old, but not exactly yesterday's news either. I wanted to talk about the B&O Chessie bay window cabooses real quick, because as some of you might have seen Thursday evening, I have samples now. I didn't have them last Tuesday. These showed up Thursday at like 3:30 in the afternoon. And so I had them just in time for the Train World virtual national train show event. So I sort of showed them there. And then also we got the Southern Pacific C50-5 bay window prototypes in. So yeah, I wanted to talk about those. There were quite a bit of updates that we were able to get implemented to these. Couple of, and I'll take full ownership of this. There was a couple of oversights on my end immediately on the initial tooling samples, but some of it I totally was not aware of. So everyone from the B&O Chessie group, let's say, that started pointing stuff out to me, thank you. I appreciate the assistance. You guys, of course, are the experts on your road, whereas we have to know a little bit about everything. So there's some stuff that's going to get through. We can't see everything all the time. So again, thank you for your assistance on that. I think we've gotten something that everyone will be pretty happy with. We got the colors updated. We got the artwork updated. We got the tooling updated to be better representative of the product, of the prototype rather. And I think everyone will be pretty happy with how these came out. I know that I am. I had some reservations whenever we were going through them, and I'm pretty happy with them.
I think the colors look great on it, especially compared to the deco samples that we got. It's a big improvement.
Yes. Now I haven't put it beside anyone else's B&O Chessie caboose, but whenever I took a side-by-side photo from the deco sample to this one, it's a clear difference, and I think everyone will be happy with the color updates.
Mm-hmm.
I know that I am.
Definitely. And the SP cars, it's been 6 or 7 years since we last made the SP cars, and right. I know a couple of them. So
right, and so this is the first time that we've got sound in these, but not the first time that we've had lights in these. So right. I know that Chris Palmera's was wanting to make sure that these were done properly. We had some logo updates and lettering updates and ownership trust stencil updates and that type of thing. And I actually spoke to Chris on Thursday.
Oh yeah.
Anybody wondering, Chris Palmera's is doing well. He's still in the middle of his move to Colorado and to be permanently with, well, I wouldn't say permanently, but to be with Caboose and the group out there. So again, we wish him well. But I talked with Chris on Thursday and wanted to make sure that we got his updates addressed on these, and we did. So again, I think everyone should be pretty happy with the way these turned out.
Yeah, I noticed we put the ACI labels and the COTS panels on there, which matches the in-service appearance for most of their lives. So I think that a lot of people are going to be happy with those artwork additions there.
Right. And then one of the other big things that Chris was going for on these was the single frog eye marker light on top of the roof. So that is how we wanted to announce them, and we got them produced properly. So everything should be good to go. And with these approvals, they should have been, they should be shipping from the factory Thursday, I think it is. So Wednesday night, our time, Thursday, Friday, something like that. So you should be seeing these start shipping in late August. So, but to keep talking about that, this is the announcement of cabooses from June. I think that there's still some room available on these, but I just wanted to reassure everyone that, you know, the customer comments were taken into consideration on the first production. And, you know, that's what I'm hoping. I mean, of course, me holding it up to the camera is not going to do it justice. But we will be getting these over to the photographer for photography later this week. I see you hanging out down there, buddy. You'll be seeing me this week to get these photographed, and we'll get them up on the website. And hopefully everyone is happy with them like I am. So again, these Chessie and B&O Chessie cabooses and the safety caboose. I think I showed the safety caboose last week.
Yeah, we had the green one last week.
Yep. And then CSX should be ready to go and good for the second production run, and that's that. So
Cool.
there you go. So now, what I know everybody is sort of here to see.
I see it in the comments. People are getting a little bit heated about Amtrak. So I want you guys to know that we understand that there's a need for this stuff, and we're moving as quickly as we can, which is not very quick. You know, these projects take a lot of time from the start to the end to make them models worth your time.
So speaking about Amtrak, though, look what I have here, Janet.
Ooh.
Ta-da!
Is that the 130 or the 66?
This is number 130.
I saw that just the other week in Santa Barbara. It's back in service now.
Oh, yeah?
But the nose is still all scratched up. So maybe our customers, when they get their hands on this one, can do a weathering project and make it look like the prototype.
It's coming in blurry. I don't know why. But
these webcams don't focus on anything that close. You got to put it back by your face. Yeah. Oh, looks great.
Oh, Amtrak. Matt Donnelly, are you there? What? Oh, no. Underbody. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. I had to be careful where I was grabbing it because of the underbody.
Oh, yeah. Look at that. Nice.
Here, let me get a gray one so that you can see the details instead of a black one.
That's a good point, too. You're going to want to pick these up from the side, not from underneath anymore, because there's all that detail now.
So there's the
Nice.
no, other computer dropped. Okay, so there's underbody detail. Those are the air filters on this side. So this is the engineer side, right side of locomotive. And then there's conductor side showing the air dryer and the etched air dryer guard.
That's my favorite part. That's really cool.
And we have two different air dryer guard styles. We have this curved one, and then we have the angled one, which was the later style that I found anyway. So we retooled the air tanks to be more prototypical, and they are angled down for moisture draining per the prototype.
Mm-hmm.
We have all the air piping back going between the battery boxes. And if you can see it in this orientation, it's the bottom battery box, but there is the bracket for the spare knuckle.
Oh, okay. That's what that is.
And so, yes, there are some decoration issues we have to address. I'm not happy with how they did the grill bracing in it. So we're gonna work on that with the factory. And there, look at all the pilot details. And so,
yeah, it's all there. Nice.
These are the rubberized MU hoses, and they're not breaking. Yay! And then the dual train line that is on the front and the rear. So let's see if we can show it on the front here. And this is a brand new plow, brand new tooled up plow. So it's got the grabs above it, the open access doors. It's got all of the MU receptacles and such going through the plow, the dual train lines. And then if you could see it, you might be able to see it in there. You can sort of see the cab interior. So what I'll do, is this the powered one? No, that's not the powered one. So anyway.
Can we get a shot of the antennas on the roof as well?
Oh, yeah. Good call. So this is new antenna arrangements. We've got some decoration updates to do to those. Some of them should be white, but that's okay. Yeah. So since this is a heritage unit here, I think it is 184 is a heritage unit, right?
Yeah.
So this has updated antennas with all the the PTC and the Styco antennas and that type of stuff. And then number 21 is an early version, so it still doesn't have but the single Sinclair ice skate and the little end of train ice skate antenna on it.
Okay.
But I didn't get a sample with the Illinois service antennas because that was number 66, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's the only one in this group that would have that version.
Okay. So I didn't get that sample. Oh, and the other thing is we tooled up a new exhaust port, not the opening, but it's a new exhaust stack rather, to be more like the prototype. And if you can see it, the prototype, the exhaust stack is forward in that exhaust opening, and we have relocated it in the body to be forward, just like the prototype. So
cool.
Bunch of little tooling updates that just really, really helped this model come along. So, but also what I want to show you is the inside. Now this one is together, and this is the powered one that has all the LEDs and lights in it. And I've already had this one apart once, but look at what's still attached.
It still has the ladders.
It still has the ladders attached to it. So
that's crazy.
To show everyone is I'm going to remove the 4 screws.
The one that I have is missing all the ladders.
I think a lot of people's are missing the ladders on these.
When we did this model, that was one of the things we wanted to address, guys. We know that the ladders on the old ones are very fragile. That's not the case anymore.
So I removed the 4 screws, one on each coupler box, and then the body mounting screws under the trucks here. And then I'm just going to grab the truck and gently push up on the body. And there. The lights are all contained in the chassis. So the shell is completely removable and all the ladders stayed on. You can set the shell aside gently, of course. And then here is your chassis. Heavy die cast, there's your cab interior. And then the dual 28mm speakers. This one, of course, is sound equipped. So this is the Tsunami 2 8-function decoder. There is the LED PCB, and there's the light pipes for the LEDs and such. Yeah, it really came together pretty nice. I haven't done any pull tests with it. I don't have a kitchen scale to weigh it, unfortunately. So hopefully I'll be able to go and operate it sometime soon here and get some numbers for everyone.
Someone was asking if you could see the windows again when you get it back together.
Sure. I'll leave the couplers off of it now. So cab windows, I guess.
Yep. Did we always put the wipers on there, or I think
the wipers have been on these since I have been with Athearn, and I started 6.5 years ago, something like that. So
okay.
So yeah, and again, I mean, I just easily slipped the shell back on, and the ladders are still intact. So
cool.
Pretty happy with it. So that one is, and I'm embarrassed to admit this, but I don't know which phase is which except for phase 1 and phase 5. So I couldn't tell you which one we were just looking at, because Amtrak doesn't run through southern Indiana. So
that was a phase 3.
Okay, so here's phase 5. I know that. So there's your phase 5. And a couple of color updates I think we need to do on these yet. I think the blue showing up a lot more vibrant than it actually is on the model. It's closer to what I remember the prototype being. But yeah, so again, remember these are early deco samples. There's some color updates we need to do, some color masking updates we need to do, that type of stuff. But overall, I mean, I'm pretty happy with them. When you compare doing a review to one of these things to the SD80 Max, for example, there's a lot less to look over on a P42. So I always think I'm not doing a good enough job. So
get that definitely.
ATS shoe.
Okay.
So yeah, overall.
And that's one with the rebuilt nose?
Yes, it is.
Cool.
And I've got, no, I don't. So whenever I get these over and get them photographed for the website and social media pages, I'll make sure to take a DCC pack with me to show all the lighting on it, because the red marker lights front and rear do work. And from the factory programming, they are defaulted to function 6 on your controller, and they will light in the opposite direction of travel.
Okay. So they'll be directional based on if you're going forward or backwards. Correct.
So, and we set that up for basically a reverse move. So if you were pushing like a passenger car consist in Southern California, the red marker lights would be on and it would be prototypical. So
Surfliner cars, yeah, definitely.
So yeah, wouldn't know anything about Surfliner cars, would we?
No.
I mean, only because 95% of our staff is in Southern California. So.
And everyone else has probably seen them in person, so.
Right. So anyway, I think that's about all that I've got. Janet, do you have anything special, or do we want to try jumping in and start doing some question and answer stuff?
You can send me any of those samples that you want to.
Well, I could.
Yeah, I don't have too much today, guys. I got a couple of body shells that I will show off. And when I say body shells, I literally mean just a shell without any parts on it at all. So keep that in mind when you're looking at these.
Okay, there we go.
So that's the Savage GP7U that we announced a few months ago. And as you can see, just a shell. I was approving it based on the colors and the artwork on the shell. And someone was asking me, well, where can I use this thing? Where is it good for? So I went to Rail Pictures, and there's a picture of it there, which is in Wasco, which is near Bakersfield, for those of you that frequent that area.
James Wright is watching, and James Wright made a comment about Southern Indiana, and all I'm going to say is that his comment about Southern Indiana sort of mirrors Wasco and Bakersfield there.
But no, this unit, that'd be a good switcher for any sort of industrial or grain operator. You don't have to model Wasco to use the Savage GP7U. So that's the good thing about that one.
And the other neat thing about these is, like you said, I mean, you don't have to model this particular area, but it's a lease unit. It's a anything goes type unit. And if you have a module or a Fremo or a shelf layout or something like that, I mean, it can be used for anything.
Yeah.
So it's not just oh, it was only at that elevator. No, these things get everywhere. I mean, I was over 4th of July weekend. I was out in Nebraska, and just some of the small grain elevator power that's strewn all about Nebraska is just incredible, you know.
Mhm. Absolutely.
So
I want to make sure I credit Mr. Alex Gilman there for that photograph up on Rail Pictures. Nice shot of that unit there. And then I see in the background the Weyerhaeuser Bicentennial GP7. Now, there probably aren't a lot of people out there that model Weyerhaeuser, but it's a bicentennial, so red, white, and blue, that's always interesting to look at. And it's always popular. And, you know, logging railroads in general are pretty popular too. So we produced Weyerhaeuser box cars and flat cars in the past. So why not make something that pulls them?
well, and the neat thing about this is, because whenever we announced these Weyerhaeuser, I was thinking, okay, so that would be for a very limited area of like a paper mill or something like that. And then I got to thinking, oh wait, that could be used, you know, like in the Pacific Northwest for the logging railroads or something like that. Because, I mean, the way I had heard about it is I used to work in a print shop, and we used Weyerhaeuser paper all the time. And I didn't even think about it. So yeah, there's quite a bit of uses for that one too.
Yeah, definitely. And I see Terry LaFrance is, I guess we're saying it wrong. I'm not sure how to say it then if I'm saying it wrong. So apologies for that.
Yeah, I thought it was Weyerhaeuser as well.
But maybe it's Weyerhaeuser. I've heard that one too. So Weyerhaeuser.
Weyerhaeuser.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Consider me informed. I did
That
not.
makes two of us, and I feel worse than you because I worked with the product.
Yeah, that's right. You were in the print shop for a while. So
Yeah.
oh yeah, the yeah, there's all right. So that's all I got for now. Again, the Savage GP7U and the Weyerhaeuser. Those are the first decorated shell samples. So I just approved them based on the colors and the artwork. But of course, all the details aren't there yet, but they will be on the finished models.
What? That's not how it comes out of the box?
No, that's not how it comes. You'll get all.
That's reminiscent of. Never mind, I won't say it because then the comments will blow up.
You'll get niceties like battery box doors, handrails, trucks, even a fuel tank. So. So that was pretty much what I had for today.
All right. Well, I think that works out because yeah, you're not kidding there, Zach. Apparently pronunciation counts around here. So Weyerhaeuser, got it.
Weyerhaeuser. Yeah. Well, you know, I've never heard anyone say it. So
I have not either.
I learned something new today.
So, all right. Well, oh, nope, my dad. Yeah. James, you read between the lines. Stop it. So I guess let's go ahead and move on to the question portion of our agenda.
Yeah. Hey, James, everyone says bring back the blue box stuff. Our boxes are still blue. We never changed that.
Yeah. Hey, easy. Wait a minute. Where did it go? Austin Powers, really? I don't know.
Is that a compliment or an insult?
Good question. All right. If anybody wants to ask I don't want to say a deep question, but an involved more than a yes/no question, we'll probably give those a little bit priority over just the yes/no questions. So
There was one earlier on, and I guarantee I won't be able to find it now. But somebody was asking about our QA and QC and sort of our overall approval process. I thought I could take like 2 minutes and just really quickly break it down for at least the existing tooling models. Once we finish a research project and it gets sent to the art department, we go through several rounds of art review in-house before we announce the product. And then after we announce a product, we also have about a month worth of time to receive customer feedback and implement any changes there. So once that's all done, we send it to the factory for production. And there are 2 main checks after that. There's the deco sample approval, which is what I just showed you guys, those shells. And sometimes we get a fully assembled model like Matt has. Sometimes we just get shells. And we're checking everything with those: artwork, colors, accuracy, assembly, quality, and all that stuff. We give feedback to the factory, things that they can make better. We tell them what we liked and what we didn't like. And then after that, there's one final check, which is the production sample, which is sort of the final check before shipment, where we just make sure that the package has everything inside of it that it should, and the labels are correct, and just sort of
samples work correctly.
Yeah, all the lights and sounds are working as they should. And once it passes that, then the models are approved for shipment. So that's kind of the general process there.
And something to remember is we get a selection of the production samples. We only get 2 from each item number. So the 2 that we may have might work phenomenally, just like they're supposed to. You know, they run good, they run smooth, they sound good, the sound is crisp, there's no issues, there's no problems, that type of thing. But, you know, keep in mind, some of these production quantities are well into the hundreds, and there's going to be some slip by. And also remember that everything on these is still pretty much hand assembled. I mean, sure, the parts are injection molded, and the windings and the motors are done by a machine that, of course, counts it, and that type of stuff. But there's very little automation actually that goes into these. I mean, they're still painted by hand. They're still affixed to the jig and the tampo print machine by hand. And they're all glued by hand. The gears are all put into the trucks by hand. I mean, there's very, very little automation in the way of building a model train. So mistakes happen. And whenever we have a very popular item like UP 1943, and we made into the thousands of those, more mistakes can slip through. And it's just an unfortunate fact of it, but we try our best, if you do have a problem, to make it right so that you have the model that you anticipated. So, I mean, again, I encourage everyone who should happen to get a model that has an issue, please reach out to us, because that's what our customer service department is there for. We try to make it right. We want you to be happy with it, and we want to make it right before it becomes a problem. And if you can't get a hold of the customer service department, which is unlikely, reach out to us. Try some of our different email contacts, the help at Athearn.com, the parts at Athearn.com, and go from there. We want you to be happy with your models.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, oh, that's a good question.
Yeah, I like that one.
How does one end up working in a model railroad company? Do they grill you on train things on the interview? Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
I just spent a while talking, so I'll let you go first.
Well, and the reason I asked that is because I think you and I have come about this from two totally different um, um, methods of working for said model train manufacturer.
Yeah, that's true.
Of course, like I mentioned earlier, I'm from Southern Indiana, and I'm not going to give you the whole backstory, but my background, I have a piece of paper that I spent 4 years getting that says I am a graphic artist. So there was some turnover about 6 years ago that happened at Athearn. I think we all know which turnover I'm talking about. That opened up some positions, and one of them was a graphic artist position, and I applied for it. And during the second interview, because apparently I interviewed the first time well, it was rather unexpected, the second call, and so I wasn't anywhere prepared for it at a computer or anything like that. And I happened to be rail fanning, and I'm talking to the hiring manager at the time, and a train goes by. What was that? I said, well, it was a train. Oh, you know about trains? I said, yeah, because remember, I was interviewing for a graphic artist position, and I'm not saying that the graphic artists don't require train knowledge. It goes a long way if you do. But they were asking, oh, so you know about prototypes and all this, that, and the other. And I said, yeah, I'm definitely learning, and I want to continue learning. I want to, get serious about this whole thing, because I came from the Lionel world. I came from 3 railroad gauge, and we just enjoyed running trains. I mean, that sort of reflects in how I operate my model, HO models now, but that's neither here nor there. So it came up that whenever they found out I had railroad knowledge, some railroad knowledge, that there was the checker position open, and they asked if I wanted that position because it was more of an R&D type thing. It was more research, which is what I wanted to continue learning and doing. And then they would double that on top of my graphic artist skills, because I could review the artwork. I could actually go in, tear apart the artwork layers, tear apart the parts call outs. I could go into the spreadsheets that we utilize to call out all the part numbers, and I could compare them, write up research to artwork for the factory, and just have that much more of an accurate review of the samples, like the samples you showed, the samples I have on my desk right now, the P42s, that type of stuff.
Plus, when you do that, we're cutting out the middleman, and it goes a lot faster if one person can handle all of that stuff at once.
Right. So ultimately, since they liked my railroad knowledge, they liked my interview for the graphic artist position, they liked my skill set, they made me a job offer, and I moved out to Los Angeles 6 years ago. I actually spent 4th of July in Amarillo, Texas. So that's how I sort of got into it. I mean, I've talked to Ken Patterson, and on his What's Neat This Week podcast, and then I think for the Model Railroad Hobbyist show, because he sort of asked me the same question. I mean, I've sort of come from all over. Well, I don't want to say that. I haven't done a fashion design or anything like that, but I've worked in a hardware store for 4 years, so I know a little bit about plumbing. I know a little bit about paint. It's all these little things that just culminate to get the knowledge base. Working with the contractors, working in the rental department. I mean, I enjoy working on outdoor power equipment, so working with my hands, working on engines, working on motors, working on cars. Then, like I mentioned, I worked in the print shop, so I understood the printing industry, which helped me understand this aspect of the printing industry, which is tampo printing, pad printing.
It's not that different.
Right.
Limitations that you have.
I was editor for my high school yearbook for I'll say 7 semesters out of 8 during high school. So, I got the editing thing down. That's where I started picking up the graphic arts. So it's just a culmination of what I considered sort of odd jobs at the time that just sort of culminated into working for Athearn Trains, which I never dreamed in any situation that I would be, having lived in Los Angeles, California, moved back to Central Illinois, traveled to China to visit our overseas vendors, traveled out of the country, traveled all over this country for our trade shows and such. So, yeah, that's how I sort of got into it. A little drawn out, I know.
Watching the gates come down, but I'm not seeing anything. So maybe they're just going slow. And they're going back up.
Yeah.
Huh.
So
I'll give you guys a couple quick minutes. I don't quite have the credentials that Matt does, if I'm being honest. I'm mostly self-taught in this hobby, and one of my specialties, which was something that they wanted, was the DCC and sound knowledge, which I had taught myself through doing my own sound installs on my own locomotives during my free time in college. And I also knew Chris Palomares. We've been friends since the early 2010s. And we've been hanging out, going to train shows, going to modular setups, and all that. And as many of you know, Chris worked at Microscale for a while, and that's kind of the connection that got him the first job at Athearn. And then through that, he recommended me for a position. Right around the same time that Matt got hired, it was a few months after that I was hired on. And from there, been doing the research since the start, and that's about it, really. So having the connections helps, of course. Having the skills helps. A lot of it can be taught, but a lot of it can't be. You gotta just have to have a passion and a drive and a willingness to accept when you're wrong. I think that that's one of the big differences that I see from some people that say, oh, well, I could work there and blah, blah, blah. Well, can you acknowledge when you're wrong?
And like you sort of mentioned, I mean, it's who you know. It can be who you know. I came into this thing without knowing anybody. I mean, gosh, who's a big name in the hobby? I can't even think of one. I know so many of them now, but you know, you could have said Pele Soberg's name to me, and I would just, what? Who's that? You know?
Yeah.
I mean, like I sort of said, Southern Indiana, this kid from the Midwest, I didn't know anything.
Yeah, you had quite the move. I was living in San Luis Obispo, so I only had to come 4 hours south. So that wasn't a huge deal for me.
Right.
So anyway, that's quite enough on that topic. I'm sure people got more than they bargained for there.
Yeah. So anyway, to sort of answer your second question, do they grill you on train things in the interview? I didn't get grilled on train things because I was applying for the graphic artist position, and then the job I ultimately ended up getting was just sort of a, hey, this is open. Do you want it? Okay, sure.
Yeah.
So
I didn't get grilled too much either, other than they made me take a DCC programming test.
Yeah.
So,
yep. So,
but yeah,
like you said, enough about that. Michael Ratledge, hoping this more GE is some ES44 C4s. Chances are good. Not gonna say it's tomorrow. Not gonna say it's July 31st. The chances are good. Oop, here's our weekly reminder, CP Veterans ACUs. And see, that's why I sort of picked this cam, because I've seen screen captures of the ACUs running through the Revelstoke cam here. So
I've seen those.
Hopeful. But anyway, there's our weekly reminder for ACUs. So thank you, Asher.
Mr. Corey Conrad was asking about Chessie 40-2s. Will we be doing another run? Yes, absolutely. I don't know when, but that was the signature chassis system locomotive. We'll absolutely do more at some point. And the C27s, the ones that Matt just showed, are due in September. I just checked on the website.
Okay, so they'll probably arrive near the very end of August then.
Yeah, I would say.
All right, so pardon me for misspeaking earlier. So yes, I'd say probably more realistically, those will be in at the beginning of September, not the end of August. Sorry. Ben Matchett. Weekly reminder for more Genesis GTW Jeep 38-2. Especially 5856 Operation Lifesaver. I was wondering where you were. We'll get with you guys on that. Because what do you say, Jeep 38-2s?
I put that down as a 2021 release.
Okay.
So look for that one in 2021, guys. We'll look into it.
Update on the 70 Aces, please.
Well, since you said please.
Yes. Announcement is still looking like winter this upcoming winter season. So I don't think I would expect anything in December now. I would expect something January, February, maybe. We are working on road name selection right now. Trying to get that research packet started so that we can get artwork created and build materials and that type of stuff. But as a note, we do have Aces in stock. Where are they? So we've got, of course, 1111, and we've got UP in stock. And then we've got these two EMD lease unit Aces in stock. And then, of course, we've got these Vermont Railway?
Yeah.
Yeah, Vermont Railway M-2s available. So, yeah. So there are some in stock right now. But then, so I would say a little later, within the next probably 6-7 months, there'll probably be some announcement coming at that time. So what are you talking about, James? Heritage units. Okay, Jay wants heritage units.
Yeah. Which ones?
Yeah, because remember there are NS and UP.
Yep.
So Matthew Litwin, would installing engineers in the P42 be fairly easy to do? Yes.
Absolutely.
Just remove the two coupler box screws and then the two screws holding the body shell on, and the shell comes off pretty easily. So should be pretty simple. Oh, no, it's not a tier 4, James. It'd be tier 2, tier 3, the existing molds that we have. So
there's a couple people asking about the Amtrak 50th anniversary. We're not sure what their plans are for that yet, but you can guarantee that we'll be asking them about it. And as soon as we know if there's anything that would make sense for us to produce, then we absolutely would. So.
Right. So ironically, as a matter of fact, I spoke with Matt Donnelly today actually about these P42 samples that I have sitting on my desk here, and reminded him, hey, something comes up for the 50th anniversary, please let us know as soon as you can. So we are on his radar. So as soon as something comes up for 50th anniversary and we can share it, we'll let you know. But until we are given the official word to share anything, we of course will not share anything. So,
and Matt is our contact at Amtrak. He handles the licensing. So anything that we produce that's Amtrak goes through him, and he makes sure that all the colors and artwork is correct on it. So it benefits everyone when that's the case. So.
What do you think of that, Janik?
I don't. Is that an SD40-2, or am I thinking of something else? Let us know, Ted.
I think it's the 40-2.
Yeah, I think we've made that one once before, but maybe we could do it again. Someone was asking if we added weight to the P42s. Absolutely, yes. The frame, chassis/frame is entirely redesigned from the previous version, and it has a lot of weight.
Yeah. So this right here, that is all the die-cast chassis.
Yeah, as soon as Matt picks up a scale, we will let you guys know what the actual weight is on these things. So if I had to guess, it's going to be close to the SDP40F.
I would agree to that. I don't have an SDP40F here to compare to, but the weight on these is pretty significant. So I'm hopefully going to be able to test run this guy sometime soon, and we'll get some pull tests and videos up for everyone. So
cool. Yeah, well, maybe if you send me one, we can drag something up the hill on the California Southern with it.
I can't let you guys have all the fun just because you have a layout.
Layout guys have all the fun, yeah.
So
they're moving now.
Any chance number 42 will return in Genesis? Probably. Of course, there are some things that will have to be updated in order for us to do that, artwork-wise. But I don't see a reason that it probably won't come to Genesis.
Yeah, look for that one in a future run.
New Florida East Coast Jeep 40-2 with ditch lights and new blue paint and breast cancer paint and Blomberg trucks. So
I think I should talk to Kevin about that one, because I know he actually got some custom made decals for that new FEC scheme, which is I think what he's talking about.
Probably.
The breast cancer is a big question mark because licensing. You can't use that breast cancer ribbon. You can't just slap it on anything. You got to have permission to do that.
Right, because there's a couple of things actually with the breast cancer awareness that we would like to do, but again, we're being very cautious because I mean everybody knows right now we're waiting on VIA and Go Transit, but the Susan G. Komen Foundation is a very, very large entity, and we do not want to upset them or their foundation, so there's no way that we couldn't get away without asking them.
Right.
So, we just want to make sure that we do it right. And if the license agreement is too costly for it, we probably will pass on it unless there's enough demand for the Susan G. Komen breast cancer stuff that we would ultimately have to pass those licensing royalties on to the customer. As much as we don't like doing that, but we can't foot the bill for everything. So
right.
Santa Fe low headlight Jeep 50s, both phases and prime for grime.
Ooh, you got my attention anytime you say prime for grime. Yeah, that would be cool. Don't think we've done the low headlight units, and I don't think we've done prime for grime Santa Fe, so that would definitely be in the cards next time we do 50s. Don't know when that's going to be.
DRGW F9 still delivering in October.
Well, let's check the website.
I assume you're talking about the ones we announced last year. I think they're still slated for October this year. Do you know if any of the guys out there reviewed these yet, Janik?
I remember sending an email recently to Dave saying that he'd be getting samples of those units. So yeah, I'd say we're on track for October.
Okay. Cool.
A normal rail fan wants to see a Prime for Grime SD70 Ace. Well, what railroad? We did offer the PRLX units, which were former CSX. Those were pretty much Prime for Grime, I think. But
yeah,
anything else, let me know.
Those were patch outs, not really patched and faded.
Right.
We still used the original CSX blue on those, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Ooh, I like that question. SPMT4s. So there's a couple of updates that we're working on with these, mostly the lighting. And then there's a couple of serviceability things that we're trying to update for our customer service team. But we are, yeah, I'd say we're working on another announcement, but I don't know what the timeline is on that yet. I think we have it slated for winter, but I don't, excuse me, I don't remember. Wayne Miller agrees with the Prime for Grime Aces.
Okay.
So maybe we ought to consider.
Go ahead.
Maybe we ought to consider some Prime for Grime Aces instead of some fresh factory paint units on the next announcement of them. I mean, of course, there will be factory fresh units, but
yeah,
maybe throw in.
We did some Prime for Grime Gevos, I know. Got to be careful with UP though. We cannot desecrate or modify that flag.
Right.
So that would be one limitation on that.
Any samples of the new Athearn Big Boy arrive yet? Yes.
Yes.
I've got one or two, but I know, Janik, you've got the bulk of them. Yep. And they should be shipping late this week or early next week. So they should be arriving, early September, I would say.
Yeah, I ran that one down at the layout, and I didn't have any issues with it.
Great.
I pulled it. Huh?
How are the new lighting features?
It was cool. The firebox flicker, I really enjoyed that. We turned off some of the lights so we could see it better, and it looked really cool going up the hill. And we hooked up a bunch of track cleaner cars and then a whole train of Pullmans, and it pulled it right up the hill, no issues. So
cool. Anders. So if anyone here has been paying attention to what we've been saying over and over for about the last 4 to 5 to 6 weeks about our licensing issues or challenges, they're not issues, our licensing challenges with VIA and Go Transit, ask anyone in the industry about getting a license from the IOC. The IOC, from what I have been told, licensing is very expensive, number one. And number two, you can only sell Olympic licensed products for the year, during the year of the Olympic Games. So those units, 2001 and 2002, those are for the 2002 Olympic Games, I believe.
Yeah.
So we couldn't sell them because it's not 2002 anymore. However, there have been some other creative thoughts on how to work towards it, but we're still just a teeny tiny bit gun shy about how we would want to do it. So,
yeah.
Believe us, nobody would like to see those produced more than us, because I know that I would want a pair of them. I don't know about you, Janik, but I know a couple of other guys within the company would want a pair of them. But there's no way that we will be able to get a license for those units from the IOC.
Right. And it's the same thing with the SP bicentennial unit for the 1984 Olympics. It's the same problem with that one. So,
right.
So it looks like it's about 2:30. I did want to say one thing for the guys whose comments that we didn't get to today. We don't have time to answer all the comments during the video. It's not because your comment is not a legitimate comment or not one that we're interested in. We just don't have time to do them all here. So please don't feel bad if we didn't answer your comment. We do read all the comments and we take all the suggestions seriously.
Yeah, I mean, we've sort of mentioned it before, but some of the announcements that we got coming up later this year and next year, there's been a lot of questions for them in these comments, not just today, but all the previous shows that we've done. So we've got stuff coming. Oh, nope. Nope. Nachos too. Okay, but I've got nachos coming. You don't.
But the picture shows pizza. Which one is it?
Yeah, really. Well, it looks like there's pineapple on that pizza. Joel, what's wrong with you? So other than that, I think we're going to sort of call it a day today. But I do want to say that next week, I don't think we're planning on doing this on Tuesday, because next week, Friday, the 31st, is our new August announcement packet live date. And that's also when the current July packet closes. So I think we're going to do our live show on Friday to talk about the Friday announcements, because everything should still be on track, but we will have a brand new model announcement, locomotive announcement on Friday, July 31st. So definitely be sure to tune in on Friday. Look for the go live date and time on Friday for sure. And hopefully we'll see you there. I know I'm excited about it. I mean, I've been working on this thing for, well, 3 years this week, because it was during the Orlando NMRA that we green-lighted the research on the project, and I started on it. So it's been a long time coming. It's thorough, it's complete. There's many variations, and like we sort of alluded to last week, it's all over North America. So
yeah, absolutely. I know that I'll be picking up a few of those when they come out. So.
Yeah. Genesis 2.0, I will say that much.
Yeah.
LED lights, I can tell you that much. Dual cube speakers in the sound equipped models, I'll tell you that much. I think that's all I'm going to tell you.
Yeah. If you want to know more, come back on Friday, next Friday, that is. And we'll be here going over that and maybe some other announcements as well. So.
Yeah. So again, thanks for joining us, everyone. Decent questions today, good questions today, good conversation. So yeah, keep working on those models, enjoy the hobby, stay safe, wash your hands, and have a good afternoon.
All right, we'll see y'all next week.